All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the June 2026 meeting of the DuPage ROSC Council. Can you believe how time flies? We are here from beautiful Banyan Treatment Centers in Lisle. Give a round of applause for Banyan, everybody. Woo! Okay. Uh, if if you've been attending our meetings for a while, I think quite a few of you have. We've been on tour basically for about the last year and some change. The way this started was we just thought, there's enough of these community partner sites, enough key stakeholders where we can actually go out and host the meetings from the sites. And we have been all over the place, but actually, Banyan Lisle was the very first one we did. So over a year later, it's nice to be able to come back and see just even further how much some of these programs have grown. So we're going to be talking to Silas, who is the head of Banyan, Illinois. We'll talk to him here in a little bit. But yeah, why don't we go ahead and get started? I'm going to share my screen. Actually, we may try an icebreaker first. We got enough people here. We could do a nice icebreaker. You know what? How about some? Do you have one? Annette, you can turn your mic on.
It's fitting for today because it's so hot outside. So an
An
icebreaker sounds very
icebreaker.
good.
How about this? Since it's summer and maybe people are planning trips and stuff like that, how about favorite summer vacation you've ever been on? Are you ready? My favorite was actually going to NASA when I was a kid and the Aerospace Museum. And I'm gonna show some vulnerability here. I ate way too much inside the museum, like candy and stuff, and I got sick outside in the back. So it still comes to mind, but it was great. I loved it at the time. Anybody else in the room?
Be like a destination for me because I lived there for so many years. But
Puerto Rico?
obviously, Puerto Rico. I mean, I can't. I'm biased, but Puerto Rico. Anyone else?
Well, listen, I got a friend here. After Alex, I'm gonna put her on the spot. Alex, what's yours? Make sure the mic's on.
I haven't gone out of the country anywhere,
Okay.
but I can say I had a fun time in Nashville.
Oh, nice.
Going down and just Nashville's just really pretty in general.
It
So
is.
it's having a fun time with friends. We went a couple years ago for the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
So we got to see, I swear, the best fireworks I've ever seen before on top of a
Beautiful.
parking garage. So it was really cool.
Nice. Easy to get in trouble in a town like Nashville.
Well, we did get
I went to Memphis and had a lot of fun too. I don't know if you guys ever been to Memphis on Beale Street. Walking down there was really, really cool. All right, I'm gonna put my friend Jenny on the spot. She goes to somewhere really cool every year. Well, you go to multiple cool places,
I
but I
do.
was thinking about the island or
Oh,
the
Belize.
yes,
Yeah, Belize. We did go one summer, so it was a summer vacation,
yeah.
and there it was jellyfish drifting season, so that wasn't as
Now,
great as it could have been. Yes.
if you can't see it,
Yes.
but Jenny has a sleeve of aquatic tattoos. She's very much an ocean
Hmm.
person.
Yeah.
I have a fear of the ocean, so it's a good
Immense.
friendship.
It's wonderful. It's
I
great
sent
friendship.
her a preview of a movie yesterday where a whale swallows a guy, and I was like, "This is great. This is perfect for you." She's like, "Yeah, I don't really want to see that." So
No,
I
the
have to
thing is like the
remember.
whale dies. Like,
Well, if it swallows a human and he's got to get out, I would
right.
assume
Like I
yeah,
feel
the
like,
whale
and
would
I don't
die.
want any part of that. I'd be okay if
Great point. Great point. Let me check the chat real quick. And then if anybody on the online version wants to say hi, you can come off mute before we kind of get officially started here into the day. Scott Coppin loved going to the Rocky Mountain National Park. That is a good one as a kid. Um, John from CDH last year, Disney World, Epcot, Universal, Cocoa Beach, and then Disneyland. And then Scott was saying Memphis is amazing. Nicole Jansen, our friend from RCA, my grandparents had a house in Arkansas when she was little and would go there for 2 weeks just to hang outside. Loved that type of vacation. And then lastly, our friend Jennifer Trevelli from London Oaks used to spend summers with grandparents in Italy. Oh my God, that sounds amazing. Going there in a few weeks. Pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, well, thanks for the iceberg, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll kind of get into the meeting for today. Bear with me as we get there. Can I get a thumbs up from somebody if you can see that on the Zoom side? Scott, thank you so much, buddy. All right, so agenda for today, we're right about here. We're going to go over some agenda, the preview of upcoming meetings and trainings, because there is quite a bit happening this summer between the two ROSs that are represented here. This is DuPage, but I also have my colleague from Kane here to talk about some stuff. In addition, summer's just always busy for recovery-related events and things like that, so hopefully we'll be able to promote some of those. I'm going to talk to our friend Kelsey from Ampact, and I think Nini might be online too. If she is, we'll get her in the mix. Our two wonderful representatives from Ampact Recovery Corps who've been doing amazing stuff with the ROSC. Like I said, I'll be talking to my colleague Annette about some stuff that's going on in Kane. As we said, we're in DuPage, but recovery is not geographically locked. DuPage and Kane are together, but also this whole region up here, we should really be looking at it as one large system of care if we can. And so I'm glad we have different representatives here today. Our community partner, as we said, we're here at Banyan in Lisle, who's been a wonderful host so far. Silas Farrow, Executive Director of Banyan Treatment Centers Illinois, is here, and he's going to be talking with us about his role here, but also some of the amazing services that are available here at Banyan. Scott and Scott Coppin will probably talk a little bit about some naloxone Narcan updates. He and I actually had the cool opportunity to go on WGN a few days ago to talk about this. There's a lot possibly changing coming up with naloxone, not only in the types of naloxone that'll be available, but if you're a partner with ROSC and some of these other agencies who have the Narcan vending machines, the Narcan boxes, there's going to be some retrofitting that's going to have to happen on those boxes, which we will be prepared to do when we get to that point. So a lot to get to today. So let's kind of go through what's going on, and we'll promote some things and then get into some stuff with Banyan. For those of you who've never been to a ROS before, and I think I've counted a few people who maybe have not been to a ROS meeting, either in person or online, might be confused as to what the hell is a ROSC. We get that. Sometimes when people ask us that and we have to explain it, if we're not able to do it succinctly and shortly, sometimes their eyes kind of glaze over and we kind of lose them. So what I say is this: a ROSC is actually just a group of not only individuals, but organizations who work together to kind of make sure that there are no gaps or people falling through gaps in early recovery, but also sustained recovery. We make sure that we present and educate on services that are in our area, but also we're connectors, right? We're making sure that the people who seek these services are able to find them when they can. And lastly, and most importantly, we're made up of people with lived experience. So I'm a person in long-term recovery. A lot of my people who work with me are, but even if they aren't, lived experience is not just, me in recovery. It could be a loved one who maybe has dealt with overdose or someone in the family who's dealing with recovery. So lived experience is a wide net. So we try to get as many of y'all involved as possible. We do a lot of cool stuff, which we'll go over. And listen, this is open to the community and we can't do it without you. So share the word about these types of programs, get people out to the meetings, and we can kind of work together to meet those needs. Cool stuff coming up. I'm actually presenting next Wednesday. We have something called the DuPage ROS presentation series. What that is, it's separate from this meeting, and it's an opportunity for us as an organization to kind of dig in deeper on a topic. As you'll see in this meeting, like I'll interview Silas here in a bit. It'll be about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. But, our lives and our work don't exist in 10 to 15-minute blocks. So we try to take a whole hour to dig into a particular topic. And I'll be doing one next week about anxiety disorder in the age of constant connectivity. This is something I have to work on with my team. I'm somebody who lives with anxiety disorder. I have generalized anxiety disorder. I've had breakthrough panic attacks over the past few years. People can attest, they've seen it. I'm at a point now where those are far less frequent than they used to be, but I still live with them, and it can be difficult to talk about that sometimes. Like, I'll talk about my recovery all day, but talking about mental health can be tough for me sometimes, So important to talk about these types of things, especially since we're expected to be connected 24/7 in this world. So join us for that one. Share the word on that, especially if you're somebody with like young kids or you're somebody who works in prevention. It could be really helpful. Kelsey, where are you? I want to make sure you get a mic. Do you have the microphone?
Thanks.
Secondly, also, I want to make sure if Nini is on here. I want to make sure I see her name. And if I don't, we will see if we can get back with her at some point. But Kelsey, introduce yourself. Talk a little bit about what you do in your role here with the ROSC and with Serenity House. Go right ahead.
I'm Kelsey Chavez, and I am a project coordinator through Impact, and I am serving at Recovery House. So I am Jarrett's colleague, and I do a lot of community outreach on our AID van. And our AID van consists of a bunch of clothes for men and women. It consists of harm reduction materials such as Narcan, test strips, disposable bags that helps dispose of drugs. We got wipes on the van. We got toiletries on the van.
Yep.
We are in need of men's clothing. It is summer, so our focus is shifting a little from winter clothing to summer clothing. So shoes, socks, undergarments, bug spray, tanning lotion, maybe.
I want to talk briefly just about how the needs have changed. And so when Kelsey's talking about this, so this van actually goes out multiple times a week through different partner sites. It's out in Aurora, it's out in Elgin. Sundays, we started a really cool thing where we take it out to, I always laugh when I say this, Aurora Animal Control parking lot. They have an amazing dog park there with cool dogs that show up, so you could see the dogs. But also that day is really important to us because that's the day where we specifically are helping the people living in tent cities in Aurora. If you're unfamiliar, it's about cat corner to Hesed House, but these are people who are still living in the tents who maybe don't have space in Hesed House yet or are waiting for more permanent housing. And they are the ones who need these services the most. You know, it's people who truly have nothing. I mean, we've given people tents, clothing, sleeping bags, pillows. But I'll tell you, you know, I'm somebody who's formerly unhoused and was formerly unhoused in the spring and summer. And I always say this, socks are worth their weight in gold for people who are out there. You know, body wipes, things where people are able to keep clean while they're outside if they're not able to shower. Underwear, you know, always the big one. Clean underwear, by the way. I'm not going to accept used ones on that one if we can help it. But as you can see on the flyer, all this type of stuff we're always looking for. Do we want to talk just real briefly about the donation box program? So if you're somebody who maybe wants to collect donations for us.
I'm going to pass this over to Alex because she's done a great job
Yeah.
putting the box out.
Round of applause for Kelsey, by the way. She's done such a great job. All right, Alex, tell us about the collection process and how people can get involved if they want.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex. I work with DuPage ROSC. I just finished my first month here.
She's done great, by the way.
So we do actually have a donation box. I'm looking for more places to get a donation box, but one of our main places for a donation box for any type of clothing, but like what Kelsey said specifically, men's and women's summer clothing, is at the Wheaton Library.
Nice.
So it's like right when you walk in the vestibule, there's a box on the ground with we have one of our flyers up. It could be anything. You just put it in the box. You don't even have to tell anybody you're putting it in the box. Just drop it off. But that is one main place. But we are always looking for more places to have any donation boxes. So if your organization is wanting to host us for a donation box,
we're low maintenance.
Yes,
You know, all we want to
yeah,
do is park the
honestly.
box there and then
You-
maybe
and
pick up some
grab
things
up
as needed.
any donations that you have. You guys don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So if you
And I've
are
said this
interested.
before. We have gotten so many amazing donations from people, even people in this room who've donated stuff. Jenny, Mark's donated stuff to us. Matilda, I mean, I think everybody in here has donated something at some point. Yeah, let's make sure we're on microphone, Matilda. Hand that mic up back over. Now Matilda asked if anybody didn't hear, how do you get a box in your office if you want to collect some stuff for us? Call Annette on her personal phone. Yeah, we'll connect.
Get a box and we can get a flyer made and we can set up a time for myself to come out.
And how long is until the box is full?
It's up like so for the box that we have at the Wheaton Library, we have until the whole month of June. So
Okay.
it's there till
Like,
June, but it can go longer, pretty much as long as your organization wants us to have a box there. So yeah, as long as you want.
And I want to say something too about the variety of places who we've who've been gracious enough to host boxes for us. I know Nami DuPage was a big one. I mean, that was a big ask too. So for them to do that for us was great. Even guys, now don't give me the stink eye for this, but even places maybe outside the box a little bit. And, we've been talking for months now about making headway with vape shops and dispensaries and places like that. Well, have you know, a couple dispensaries have been huge collectors for us. They have gone out of their way to show that they want to be like a responsible civic partner. So they've done this type of stuff for us. So think outside the box. Make sure that audio is off. Perfect. All right. So thank you very much, guys. Let's get to our friend Annette Villarreal. Give a round of applause for her.
Everyone. It's
So
me.
Annette is
Yes.
our wonderful, wonderful Kane County ROSC coordinator. And we actually have a meeting coming up next week, don't we?
Yeah, I think it is next week, right? Next
It
Thursday
is.
or the Thursday after? I don't know.
Next Thursday.
It's the third Thursday of the month. Yes.
Yeah, so next
So next Thursday,
Where are we
and
going?
we are going to be hosted by the wonderful department, the Sheriff's Department in King County, actually. So we are really looking forward to that. We're very happy to be hosted by them, and we're going to be highlighting a lot of the services that the Sheriff's Department provides not only for the community but also for the individuals who are incarcerated in King County Jail. But we'll also be highlighting some of the stuff that we do together. So please join us if you can.
And we do hybrid for that one too. So you can come on Zoom if you can't make it out in person. How about the drop-in?
So our drop-in in Geneva is going wonderful. We've had more traffic coming through the door. We've had individuals who come in for certain materials, but we also have just individuals. Like yesterday, I had an individual who's been in long-term recovery that found out about the drop-in, and he just came in to talk. And so we just talked for like an hour about where he's at and how he's doing and what he does in Geneva and with his groups. And, we kind of formed, we have a standing appointment in the future to talk about how we can collaborate.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful. So,
That's the point of some of those drop-ins,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So yeah, we've had more traffic, but that's just one example of the
What type
many,
of
many.
materials do you guys keep over there?
So we kind of keep the same kind of materials that we hold in our van, right? So we're talking about harm reduction. So, we have a little donation closet there, but we do carry testing strips, Narcan. We do a virtual Narcan training there, but we also do one in person if anyone
Actually, hang on
drops
a
in.
second. I'm going to show you. I'm going to switch
Yeah, 'cause
very
it just-
seamlessly.
I mean, it kind of just dropped into
To the
that
same design
segment, right?
flair.
Yeah, it kind of dropped into that segment. So, and if anyone is ever interested, please join me. It's the second Tuesday of every month, so it's not every Tuesday, but I am there from 12 to 2 o'clock, and we do provide a virtual Narcan training, but just like the format that we are here, we also provide a virtual one.
They get
So
out
it could
on
be
their lunch
hybrid.
break.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
So it's very quick. It's not anything intensive. So please join us.
What
And
about the reentry fellowship program?
so our reentry fellowship program is going strong. And not only is it going strong, but we're starting to see some, I want to say, some positive outcomes from it. We've had certain individuals who are in the fellowship program, men and some women, that we've been able to actually help move forward, right? In their integration back into the community and actually have some success. And so we're really ecstatic about that.
So you can see like the wide range of stuff that they can help you guys with, or if you have somebody, a friend, family member, or loved one who is maybe re-entering, has re-entered recently. There is a kind of a fraternity of people who have been in that situation before. Hi, come on in. We got more people in person filing in. Hey, y'all, how we doing? We can bring some more chairs in here in just a minute if we need to. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. We are we're making some room for some folks in person. All right, how about this? Annette, let me we
Sure.
talked virtual Narcan. Why don't we do this? Because I want to make sure I get to Silas here in a second. So I think that was the last thing for Kane for the time being, right? Okay. While we're waiting for him to come back, just real quick, I wanted to let everybody know that we are still helping out with finding partner sites for our Narcan access point boxes. That is made possible through the wonderful partnership with the DuPage Health Department and the DuPage Narcan program. We'll talk more about naloxone coming up, but I want to make sure here in a second that we talked to our friend Silas here from Banyan. He has been gracious enough to give us some time today. So I'm going to go ahead for a second and stop this share. And then I'm going to do a reshare where I can put like the website and stuff up on the screen. So let's do that. Do we have that second microphone? All right, let's bring that over. All right, look. I would like to welcome Silas Farrow, Executive Director, Banyan, Illinois. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Round of applause, everybody. We got a view from there. All right, perfect. All right, so Silas, thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate it. I know you probably got thrown into this. You're like, what the hell is a ROSC? Hopefully we're able to explain a little bit about what we do. So first and foremost, how did because you were telling us a little bit about like coming here to this position, like moving here and things like that. So at its most basic level, how did you make it here to Banyan in the position you're in right now?
So it's a long story.
That's fine. We got time.
So first and foremost, Jared, I want to say thank you so much for doing this, and thank you, ROSC, for what you guys are doing in the community.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to say that I was thrown into this for anybody that knows Mike Wood.
Yeah, he does that.
I received an 8 o'clock in the morning phone call today.
There you go.
About ROSC.
Yeah,
so that's how we ended up here.
That's how it usually works. So we're good.
And I'm sure Mike planned this weeks in advance and thought it would be funnier to wait until the day of. Yeah.
Or a few minutes ago.
And again, like, anyone who knows Mike knows that's what he did. So yeah, I'm the executive director for Banyan, Illinois. I oversee Banyan, Chicago, where we are right now, and I oversee Banyan Heartland down in Gilman. So to back up a little bit, I'm a person who's in long-term recovery as well. October 4th, 2013 is my sobriety date. So about 12 and a half years.
I'm October 10th. So yeah,
awesome. October is a great time.
It is a great month
to get clean and sober.
Yep.
So I've been working in the field of addiction even prior to that. I had some relapses, but I started working in the field of addiction at a Banyan treatment center called Clearbrook in Pennsylvania, where I'm from. And my first job in the field was a dishwasher.
Really?
And I'd gotten out of treatment and I had about 45 days clean and sober. And they said, why should we give you this job? I said, I don't know. They said, that's the right answer.
Right, yeah.
And I started working as a dishwasher at Clearbrook in Pennsylvania. And from that time, I've worked in a number of different roles, from being a behavioral health tech. Being a tech in treatment was my favorite job in the world.
Yeah.
Because you get to sit knee to knee with every client that comes in,
Sure.
right? And you get to hear every story from every single client.
Yeah.
And I've done case management and therapy and clinical supervision, and I was a clinical director. And most recently, prior to coming to Banyan, I was chief operating officer with one of Acadia's facilities in Pennsylvania. And to come full circle, the guy who hired me at Clearbrook as a dishwasher is now the COO of Banyan, and reached out to me and said, do you want to move to Chicago?
Amazing.
And here I am. Yeah.
Amazing. I think what you just said, like starting as a dishwasher, I think there was like a lot of us who are in the field now who started at maybe not that level, but I did. I started like as a house manager at a recovery home, and was kind of, I had every job up the totem pole, kind of like you're talking about. So where at first, when I'm in the position I am now, I felt like there was some imposter syndrome happening sometimes.
Every day I'm like,
did you feel that at all? And
still do.
Still do. Talk about that a little bit. Like, how do you get past stuff like that? Or is there practices you use? Because I would love to learn more if you can tell me.
Yeah, definitely. So I feel that all the time. I think one of the big philosophies for me in the role that I'm in right now, I'm a big believer in servant leadership.
Yeah.
And so what that means is I want to be shoulder to shoulder or knee to knee with the staff that I work with. And if I don't know something, I ask them. You know, and I let my staff be the experts, and I let them teach me different things. And the reality is, we don't need a million Silases in the field. We need a Silas and we need a Jared and we need,
Yeah.
everybody else that we have. So I think one of the big things that helps me with imposter syndrome is knowing that I don't have the answers to everything. I
Right,
don't
yeah.
know everything.
And you
I'm
don't have to be the guy that does everything. Right?
exactly
Yeah.
right.
Even though we try to be. Yeah.
All the time, and so our friend Mike Wood, as he says, we try to be all things to all people,
Yeah.
and I've tried that. And what I find is when I put that pressure on myself, I burn out.
Sure.
Right. And then I don't perform at the level that I want to, and it becomes sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So rather than do that and put this pressure on myself, and as someone in recovery, as someone who um, has struggled with substance use, I think we're twice as hard on ourselves.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And so when I do that, I end up in this feedback loop where I don't get the results that I want, and I'm stressed out about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How do you personally, I guess, and professionally work with boundaries? Like one of the hardest things I had to do in the job was like not answered work texts at 10:30 at night, right? Or like non-essential work texts, or
Sure.
trying to like say I'm turning off my phone, but I'm still checking for calls and stuff. Do you practice that type of stuff, boundaries in your own life?
I do, definitely. So we were talking about vacations as the icebreaker, and I
Yes.
was recently in Austin, Texas, on
Great
vacation,
city.
which is beautiful,
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. And during that time, I actually shut my phone off for a week, which was a beautiful thing. And the reason I'm able to do that is because I have a strong team
Yeah.
that I work with that I trust.
Yeah.
And so I think for those of us who are in leadership roles, having trust in our teams is what allows us to disconnect.
Yeah.
So I knew that if something came up, I have a brilliant clinical director named Natalie Haynes, who I know that she can handle any situation that comes up. Maggie Smith, my operations director, can handle any scenario that comes up. Tony Weiss is my director of nursing. She can handle any scenario that comes up, and I have full trust in them.
Yeah. And one thing I learned too is like we don't have to have the answers to everything, right? Even though we try to. And B, like you said, that's okay. And it's about, I guess, surrounding ourselves with the good people or the right people for those roles. And that's, I think, a success for any organization. You have to be able to do that.
Right.
How do you feel like you bring your own recovery to work, but you don't make work your own recovery?
Sure. So, and I think this is a funny thing, right? Especially,
I just thought of that off the top of my head, by the way.
I love
I'm
that
kidding.
question. I'm a 12-step guy.
Yeah.
So hold
on, everybody. Hold on.
One of the principles that we learn in 12-step fellowships is to practice these principles in all of our affairs.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So to me, I think everything is my recovery.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Every part of my life, whether that's at work, whether that is at home with my wife and my kids, whether that's when I'm out with my friends or I'm at a meeting, all of that is part of my recovery. And if I worked in a different field, let's say hypothetically I was a plumber, I wouldn't make that my recovery.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So to me, there's like a compartmentalization that my work is a part of my recovery, but it's not my recovery.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That does make sense. Yeah. I think sometimes those of us with lived experience, that can be like a hurdle sometimes, right? Because
Definitely.
I'll give personal experience, right? So, you work a long day. Maybe you have to stay late. That's usually what happens, or come in or whatever. At the end of a long day, sometimes the last thing you want to do is like, I got to go to a meeting. Like, but I've been thinking about recovery all day. I can't think about recovery anymore. And I think that's where people get tripped up sometimes, right? Which is that's what I meant by that question.
No, I get it. But I do think there's an equal and kind of opposite trap on the other side of that, right? Where I want my recovery to touch every aspect of my life. And for those of us that do work in the field, there's this trap where we try so hard to not let work be our recovery that we don't apply recovery principles in our jobs. So there's a balance, I think. And as people in recovery, we're people of extremes, right? We like to I have a good friend who says balance is that thing that I pass when I go from one extreme to the next.
Yeah, very much so.
So I totally agree, and one other point on your side that I'd like to make is if working in the field was my recovery, I would never get past step 3.
That's a great
Because that's really what we talk about in treatment, right? We talk about 1, 2, and 3, and I need all of it. So my recovery at 12 and a half years is going to look different than one of my clients who's in early recovery.
Very much so. So let's think about back when you were the dishwasher to now. like what have you seen change in this field? I'm always interested in that. Like, what are some changes you've seen? And then maybe talk about some successes that you've seen in your various roles coming up through this.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the changes that I've seen that has been really interesting to me, actually, and I think there is a positive baked into this, is there is such a bigger focus placed on mental health and mental illness in the field. And I got clean and sober back when the philosophy was, you know, don't think, don't drink, and go to a meeting.
Yeah.
And I got walked in and I got beat over the head with a big book. And I love that stuff. And I think it saved my life. But I think we place a bigger premium on trauma, on mental illness, and I think that that's hugely beneficial. One of the downsides to this, though, that I see, and you kind of talked about this in your opening, is weirdly, I think there's a bigger stigma on mental
On
illness
mental health, yeah.
than there is on addiction, which
Yeah.
is crazy to me.
And I've seen it,
We've
yeah.
always talked about the stigma in substance use.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I don't feel that anymore. I
don't either.
feel a stigma connected to the fact that I used heroin or anything like
Yeah.
that. But I do feel a stigma when I talk about being depressed.
Or
I do feel-
anxiety or
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's stigma. I've definitely seen that too. So how about some successes? Like even here at Banyan, like, is there anything you've seen so far in your role here that you just want to spotlight on or shout out before we start talking about some of the services?
Sure, definitely. I think the biggest thing that I would like to shout out is the culture that my team has been able to create.
Great.
So, and I don't know what people's experience is with Banyan, but I'm sort of an open book in this way. I know that we had damaged some relationships in the community over the years, and people who weren't good stewards of our organization.
Yeah.
And myself and Mike have really led the charge to correct some of that within the community, but then to also bring in a team who can build a healthy culture.
Wow, yeah.
And I wish I had like a specific stat that I can
That's
give
okay,
you.
yeah.
But here's what I'll say, and I'm sure we've all experienced this. When you walk into a place and you feel like you're walking on eggshells, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's kind of where Banyan was not too far in the past.
Yeah.
And where it's at today is I feel comfortable going to work every day. I feel
That's great.
confident walking in. I feel comfortable going on vacation and trusting my team that they're going to do what they need to do. And I feel confident that the clients that are in our care are going to be met where they're at and they're
Yeah.
going to get what they need.
Amen. By the way, there's like apocalyptic weather happening behind me. Like
It's
I kind of
pretty
look
cool.
behind it. It's cool to see.
It's pretty cool.
But if for some reason everybody online, if all of a sudden it's like the meeting drops out, it may be power related. We'll see. It might make things fun. We'll do like a campfire type
It'll
thing.
be in.
That's true. The phones will go and yell at us.
It has gotten very dark though.
It has, yeah. It's kind of fascinating. So let's talk. Obviously, let's talk about services. You guys do a lot of really great things. You do a lot of things very well. So let's talk about first what happens here. Not only in Chicago, but you can talk about Heartland too, if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. So let's. I would love to start at the top, and we offer full continuum in Illinois. So for those that aren't familiar, Banyan is a part of, we're a larger enterprise. We have 18 facilities nationwide, and we offer full continuum. We believe in the ASAM model. And so we can bring clients in at detox at a 3.7 level of care, and we can treat them all the way through tele-IOP. So our goal is always to provide patients with the longest ramp that we can from the time they enter treatment until they're out of our care. So those services include on the substance use side, we have detox and residential. And then at Banyan Chicago, where we're at right now, we have our PHP program and our IOP program. And then we have shifted as well in the last year to start offering mental health services.
That's great.
For primary mental health. So we have primary mental health residential at Heartland.
Beautiful.
And we have primary mental health for PHP and IOP here.
Okay. So there's housing here in addition to that.
Correct.
Nice. Excellent.
Not in the building. It's in Naperville.
And it's
yeah,
it's a great location too if you've never been out there.
Yes.
Banyan's been awesome for a long time.
Yeah.
Any questions here? So we can maybe open it up for some questions, not only about services, but like personally, that's a great story. Just even what you're able to tell us. So if anybody has any questions, you can let me know. We'll get the Price is Right microphone around to you. Or if you're online, you can raise your digital hand or come off mute, and I'll make sure I get you in there. Where do you see things going from here? I know you talked about mental health. Do you see any other areas of growth? Like I know for us, right, as an organization, I'm constantly having to dip and dive around like language and harm reduction and things like that. So what we do is like a community facing program is different, obviously, from doing the types of services you guys do, where there's clinical and other things like that.
Yeah.
So even like, have you seen like peer services start to change things too, as far as like offering more things to people?
Yeah, I definitely have. And I love seeing people, and I know, so apologies, I'm from Pennsylvania, so the vernacular is going to be a little bit different, but
Let's hear it.
We have CRSs here in Illinois.
CRSS, yep.
Okay, so very
Yep.
similar, but I love seeing the CRSSs and the CPSs coming
It's a beautiful thing,
around in
right?
the field. Yeah, and so I remember like when I first heard of a CRS, I was a therapist at the time, and I was like, who was this person telling me about my client? And then to see the way that they've been able to come alongside treatment centers as partners
Yeah.
and to help bridge the gap from treatment out into the community, I think is awesome.
I agree. I think we've seen that too. Like, CRSS, PRSS, it's nothing new. But maybe over the past 5 to 7 years, there's been more of an emphasis on it.
Exactly.
And I think we've had similar growing pains with clinical interactions and other things where
Mhm.
we were like, look, we're not trying to step on your toes as clinical or case management or anything. We're just here as that extra supplementary thing, somebody who has like a peer support background. That's a pretty amazing thing. Were there any questions for Silas here in person? All right, let's make sure we get the microphone around. Ben Rudolph,
Hey.
everybody, our technical advisor, Chestnut Health System.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. For my next number, I would like to sing for you. Silas, thank you for all that you've shared today.
Ben, thank you.
And I'm just curious. About 10 years ago, I was part of a program at Chestnut Health Systems for certified peer recovery specialists, and there wasn't really anything around in the field. And so when I got hired for the job, a clinical director said, "Can you just kind of help somebody?" And that was my charge. That was my job description.
That's the best job description ever.
Here's keys to a van and see what you can do. On the way to doing that and making things happen for my clients, I encountered quite a bit of pushback from clinical staff.
Mhm.
So I know you mentioned briefly about clinical staff wondering who you are and what you're doing here, right?
Yeah.
And do you encounter that, and how do you blend that? I guess is the thrust of my question. How
Sure.
do we make that connection so that our clinical staff doesn't feel either insulted or like you're trying to get over, and how a peer recovery specialist feels that they are a part of this whole situation?
Right. So there's a definition of therapy that I really love, and therapy is the process of assisting others in bettering their lives, right? And in that regard, I think all of us here that work in the field are a part of the therapy process, right? And so I believe in scope of practice. To be clear, like as a therapist, I do believe that there are things that I can do that maybe a CPS or a behavioral health tech can't do. But that doesn't diminish that every role in the field is a part of the therapy process. So I think educating clinicians on that, we're not saying that we are therapists. We're just saying that we want to be a part of the team.
I love that.
Right. And that we are going to have different roles and we're going to have a different scope of practice. And I always joke when I do staff trainings with our BHTs, I please don't do EMDR with the patients. You're not there yet. But there's a lot of other things that you can do for them, and that could be as simple as getting in the van and driving them to a meeting. That could be as simple as walking over and introducing yourself to them, because we all know walking into treatment can be one of the scariest things that a person can do. And when you walk in and you're confronted with CBT and DBT and ACT and R, it's overwhelming, right? It can be really scary, but having someone come over and say, "Hey, I'm a peer specialist and my name's Silas, and can I get you something to drink?" I think is just as valuable in the therapy process as all of those other things.
I have a quick question too before if anybody else has one, but you mentioned 12 step. But there is obviously more than 12 step now. There's a wide range of different types of meetings. How have you seen that grow? Like beyond just a 12 step framework.
Yeah, so there's a point I always like to make about this. There was a time in my recovery, and I'm almost embarrassed to admit that I was that guy. I was the 12-step guy. I
This
was
is the
you
only
with the
way.
big book, and again, I still love that. It saved my life, but I had this realization that I'll just use my family as the example. My mom doesn't care if I go to, oh,
You see that, guys?
there it goes.
Power went out. Power is out. Hold on, are we still live? Can you still hear us? Give your thumbs up if you can hear. Oh my God, we're still going, people.
We're still going.
We're still going.
This is like
We're gonna keep this going until it comes out. Now listen, I will keep track of it on here, so we'll keep going unless I say otherwise.
That is awesome.
Oh, this is like a campfire, guys. This is so cool. Can we show people online like can we get a better camera angle? Like we're literally sitting here in the dark. This is wild.
Feedback.
All right, we're getting the auxiliary power, I think. Okay. Why don't we do this? Were there any other questions for Silas? That was such great content there. All the stuff he talked about. Any questions here in person? Let's get Mark the mic.
Well, thank you first of all for having us, and obviously I'm going to give a shout out. Let there be light, lights back. A shout out to obviously Mike Wood. That guy. You guys really hired a legend. That genuinely just demonstrates absolutely everything about recovery. He's my go-to guy for getting anyone into treatment because I've never heard from Mike, "Oh, we don't take that." He's just always like, let's see if we can take him. And if not, he's going to connect those dots. So with that said, what are the insurance, options that you guys offer or take?
Sure. So we work with all the major insurances. The big caveat to that is that we don't accept Medicaid. That being said, Mike is the kind of guy who, if you call him and you say someone has no insurance, has Medicaid, whatever it is, we will find a place to place that individual,
Yeah. And they've done it every time. Yeah. I think even when we've not been able to place somebody because of an insurance situation, Mike will go out of his way to make sure that we get placement for it. So why don't we have another question, Matilda? All right, here, hang on. We're going to do the Mike Olympics.
I work for Haas. I am the case manager there. And our main insurance, the main accepted insurance is Medicaid. So if I send someone to you, there is any program that Banyan has that can afford this individual that doesn't.
Sure. In Illinois, as of right now, we don't accept any Medicaid. We do at some of our other facilities, but those would be state specific to that facility. For example, our Delaware facility is primarily a Medicaid facility, but it's Delaware Medicaid. We have talked about seeing how can we try to fill that need within the community, but as of right now, we're not able to accept Medicaid.
And I would think, sorry, I'll be yelling for the mics. Like we said, Mike Wood and others who work for Banyan in the outreach department have no problems helping you find Medicaid sponsor stuff for your clients.
Definitely.
So even if, like we said, like Silas or Mike can't do it, they'll make sure that your client gets to the right people.
100%.
And not just like a phone number. Like I've had Mike literally make calls for people before. So, that's the warm handoff thing that we try to do. So any other questions for Silas, anybody?
Jared, do you mind if I just want to come back and answer that one question? The lights were rude and interrupted.
I know, right? How about that?
No,
how dare the weather not?
But I think it's an important point that I always like to talk about with the different pathways to recovery. Yes. Obviously, it's not just 12-step.
Right.
So the example I always give is my mom does not care if I go to an AA meeting, an NA meeting, a CA meeting, a Celebrate Recovery. My mom just wants her son back.
Yeah, it's great.
And so I just always like to make that point, that Banyan as a treatment center, we do advocate for 12-step, to be clear.
Of course, yeah.
However, we want to meet individuals where they're at. And ultimately the goal is I don't want any more people to die.
course not.
You know, so
Yeah.
I don't care where someone finds recovery. I just want them to find recovery. I think that moms and dads want to have their kids back.
Yeah.
You know, and so like
Agreed.
for us, we're not gonna dig our heels in the sand and say that this is the only way for things to be done.
Yeah.
We just want to see people get better.
Agreed. And I think that's a great point maybe to kind of stop at, unless there was another question. Thank you so much for taking so much time to talk to us. Great story, by the way. I think
Thank you.
we probably could have talked for another 15, 20 minutes. But thank you for making the time and for hosting us. This is a great location. That was so cool when the lights went out. I don't know. It was like a neat little moment.
It'll make me memorable with ROSC.
And it's funny, right? And it was so funny when you were trying to follow up and redo the question, the lights started flickering again. I was like, maybe we're just not meant to answer this question.
Maybe we're not,
guess.
but we got through it.
We got through it. We did. So thank you again, everybody. Round of applause for Silas Farrow.
Thank you all.
And we got about 15 minutes left. I know there's some stuff that I wanted to get to, but first I wanted to like open it up. So if there are program updates from people, so if your program has like, let's say a new event coming up, or if you've got a need, right? Like sometimes it's, we need some peer support help, or we've got an event coming up. Can we host? I see Carissa from Live for Lolly. Hey, Carissa, you can go ahead and update us on what's going on.
Hey everyone, I'll try to be quick. Thank you so much for all the shares so far. I just wanted to let y'all know that we have our new mobile outreach spot up and running. I know it's in Kane, but it's in the parking lot of Taking Control Counseling.
Nice.
Right on 31. So easy access to a bunch of different places. We have walk-in peer support from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then truck hours with all of our harm reduction supplies from 12 to 4. Every Thursday, they're opening up their event space so people can come, relax, get some water, cool down, talk with us. And we also have Spanish speaking. Susanna will be there with us as well. So, yeah, I just wanted to let y'all know about that. And that also for DuPage and Kane to be looking out for youth and family programming. We're going to be rolling out some workshops where parents can talk about like real life things that are happening with their young people who are starting school or going off to college. So,
and I have a question for you, Chris, real quick. So, those of us who work in this field, especially in and around harm reduction, have had to do some creative work lately because of SAMHSA and some other things. But if people need harm reduction materials that maybe go beyond just the standard Narcan or even test strips, can they reach out to you for some of those materials?
Yes, we have that at the truck as well. So mobile outreach has safer consumption supplies. We have syringes, all of that stuff as well. And access to resources. So yes, we have naloxone test strips. And we're also happy to do test strip testing on site. So if people feel comfortable, they can bring samples and we can do that for them just to make sure if there's something that they're concerned about. So yeah, all that stuff is available. It's all free. And we'll just kind of put them with whoever they feel comfortable with or who kind of shares a similar story as far as peer support goes. So.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing that. Anything we can do to help, support Live for Lolly and the mission out here, we're happy to do it. So yeah, we'll talk more. We'll talk more offline.
Yes, definitely.
It'd be great to maybe team up for some truck or van events. So we'll talk about
that.
that.
I'd love that. Thank you.
Great. Any other updates for organizations, programs? You know what? While we're waiting, if you want, you can raise your digital hand or come off mute. But Scott, why don't I talk to you for a minute? And then if anybody else would like to update, they can raise their hand. So Scott and I have been busy on any number of projects together. I'm sure there's stuff we could talk about. Recently, we finished the stigma reduction campaign around sober living, which was really cool to get an opportunity to have like 3 different types of sober living environments in DuPage. Was really cool to see. But lately, it's been a lot of naloxone related stuff. So Scott, what would you like to update folks on with the DuPage Narcan program? I know there might be some changes coming up that you'd like to let us know about.
Yeah, hey everybody. It's great to be here virtually. Wish I could be there in person, but maybe given the weather that is okay.
Thing,
yeah. So we at the health department are very excited to announce what I'm sure will shake everybody's very like way of living and announced the change of our name from the DuPage Narcan program to the DuPage naloxone program.
Round of applause, everybody. DuPage naloxone program. Woo!
That is a huge change, and we are just so, other than it being annoying to have to change a bunch of materials,
Oh yeah.
really doesn't change anything else. Everybody here, I certainly will not be offended if you call it the Narcan program, but in case anyone was confused, might have potentially been confused, we changed our name at the beginning of last week on June 1st. Just because in anticipation of a change in supply from the state, we get our naloxone from the state of Illinois' drug overdose prevention program, the DOP, and we heard that they may be changing. We know that last year they added generic naloxone as an option, and we were starting to hear that they may be offering it exclusively in lieu of name brand Narcan. Now, for anyone here that's a part of ADOP, I'm not trying to tell you that that's changing immediately for any of you, but because we were hearing that, we decided to make the change as early as we could and get ahead of it. I think I know that they have a contract with Narcan through the end of June, and maybe further than that. But again, over the summer, we're switching over. We are using, or we're switching.
Do you have a visual?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you were reaching for
I was reaching and realized that it's in the room that we had to shelter in place for a second because of the weather. But yeah, I will send a picture into the chat if I remember to before the end of this. But yeah, still the same medication. Having to switch out a bunch of vending machine stuff. That's really the only major change. But
yeah.
Yeah.
That was my main question. So we've done this once before. We retrofitted boxes a couple of years ago to fit the new larger, what was then new, larger Narcan boxes. So if you're a partner site who has a box, and I think some of you have, I know at least a couple of you have like multiple boxes possibly at your site, be on the lookout for contacts from like me or Scott in the next like month or so, because we were gonna maybe exchange some of these conversion kits today, but because of the weather and other things, we weren't able to. But be on the lookout because I will be out there with my team retrofitting your Narcan boxes. Which also means probably retrofitting for the vending machines too, I would guess, because of the size of the boxes, right?
Yeah, we think so. I tested and think we might get away with keeping our same size on the vending machine, but kind of we'll worry about that when we have to worry about that. The other thing from the DuPage naloxone program, and then I'll stop talking, is I think we may have mentioned here, but in following Kane County Health Department's lead, they do an unbelievably strong job of getting countertop naloxone into businesses, places that are not like our typical partners. We have them at many community facing organizations, but retail businesses is something we just flat out do not provide or have not historically provided naloxone distribution options to. So like gas stations, smoke shops, any retail establishment. We ordered boxes that are going to fit the new size of naloxone, and those will be starting this summer. We're going to be sharing those out. So if you know a business in DuPage that's interested, send them our way. We would love to give them a countertop box to put near the register or anything like that.
Beautiful. I'm going to share my screen briefly because I'm going to show a couple slides because this has like been most of my work lately has been talking about this stuff. So, you may have seen this in the news, 7-0, 70H, however you call it. It is kind of wreaking havoc, both across ERs, but also detoxes. It is not one of these medications or substances where like if you stop taking it, you're going to die, but it's been making people show up to ERs because they have no, other recourse. They feel like they're going to jump out of their skin by taking this stuff. So we do tons of presentations on this. This is kind of a lot of the work we do with the vape shops. So when Scott was talking about going into vape shops, that's one outlet, right? This is what we're going to be going to do outreach to for those countertop dispensers he was talking about, but also some of those dispensaries we mentioned earlier, who have stuff like that, but also gas stations. I also go out and do vape shop research, which is mostly just me talking to vape shop owners who are very chatty with me. They have no problem talking about selling this stuff, but also taking photos. So obviously like the 70H, but guys, this is the one too that I'm seeing everywhere. If you've heard of Feel Free, that's kind of the big trend right now. It used to be, if I was like, let's say I was doing a visit to a vape shop, you can learn a lot about a vape shop by looking at the parking lot. Because if you look down, you'll see what people throw away at the parking lots, and it's a lot of stuff like this. And actually, I know this sounds weird, you can almost gauge what people are really using by looking at the ground. Like about a year ago, I used to see a ton of nitrous containers. That was when nitrous oxide was really big. But I've started to see more and more of these things right here, these little blue shots. So these have 7OH in them. There's one that doesn't. Both have kava in them, which is kind of a traditionally used in Asia and other places, kind of as a sedative type root. But they're telling it's like a natural plant-based dietary supplements, but 7OH there's not much natural about it. It shares one or two small alkaloids with the kratom plant, but it's mostly souped up synthetic. So a lot of people having trouble with this stuff. I know I'm not going to put him on the spot, but I know Dr. Holtzford is on the call too from the crisis center. He and I have had long conversations about this stuff. We'll hopefully have some better messaging about like what to do if you or someone you know is on 7.0 and maybe can't quit. So be on the lookout for that. But this is the type of thing that we stay current on, you know, what's being sold at these places. Here's some other photos from recent vape shop visits. I'm going to kind of show you for the people on the Zoom over here on the left. This right here is just one 7.0 section. Up here, all these little shots, so like concentrated shots. Down here, you've got more capsules, but look at some of the names of these, like Opia, Press. So, I mean, it's very Craven. I mean, these are names that sound like existing opioids, prescription opioids, things like that. And I always like to show this one. They couldn't just put it in capsules. It is now in a smokable form. So you can get it in a vape form or these tablets. The vape shop owners have told me that they get the same people coming back multiple times a day, sometimes spending up to $200 a day on this stuff. So this is going to be the big thing we're fighting and have been fighting. So be on the lookout for some maybe better messaging on our end. If you're somebody who wants a presentation on any of this stuff, we've got them. Happy to come do them for you or your organization. So yeah, that's the last thing I had to share. Was there any other updates from organizations people want to let us know about? Events or anything? Anybody else? Hold on. Do you want to wait till the next one? Oh, open house. Okay. Okay. Sure. I'd be happy to anytime. I can tell you we're doing our annual overdose awareness event actually on the 31st of August this year. Usually we do it on the Thursday, which I think is 27th. We're going to be doing it on the following Monday, the 31st. So that's a ton of fun. If you've never attended, we have a really nice time. We try not to make it like a somber affair. We understand that we're honoring people we've lost, but we really try to make it a celebration. So come out to that on the 31st. Annette, anything else on your end for Kane?
No, I think we shared out our updates. Just a friendly reminder again, Kane County ROSC meeting will be next Thursday.
Bring an ID.
Oh, yes, very important. We are going to be inside the government building, so please bring an ID if you are coming in person.
We'll sneak you in the back. All right, everybody. There is a recording of this. If you knew somebody who wasn't able to make it, it'll be up on the YouTube probably by Friday. So be on the lookout for that. And then we'll see you at the next one. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one. And thanks again to Banyan for hosting us.
Yes.
Great hosts. All right, I'm going to hit stop on the record. All right.